Hey, boys and girls. Today I want us to talk about building and comparing numbers to 999. I know last year you really only worked with numbers up to 120, but this year, this week, we're going to talk about numbers up to 999. And I know you've been practicing building those on Braining Camp, and I want you to continue building them on Braining Camp. But on Braining Camp, I couldn't draw both at the same time, so I'm just going to draw them here on the chart for you, okay? So I'm going to think about two numbers that I want to compare. Okay, I want to compare the number 347 to the number 268. Okay, so first thing I want to do is I'm going to build those numbers. I want you to build them on Braining Camp, and then you could draw them if you wanted to. But I'm going to have 3 hundreds, 4 tens, and 7 ones. Remember, I always put my ones in like a tens chart, 5 and then 5. Okay, and then 200. 60, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So here's my two numbers that I'm wanting to compare. Okay? Now, when I look at these two numbers, the first thing I do when I compare numbers is I always go and look at the furthest to the left. So to this time today, it's my hundreds place. So this number has 3 hundreds, and this number has 2 hundreds. So if I compare the hundreds, 3 hundreds and 2 hundreds, well, 347 is greater than 268. Remember? So I would draw my 2 dots by the greater number and 1 dot by the smaller. And I would read that like a sentence. 347 is greater than 268. But I also want to do it with words. So under here, I'm going to write is greater than. So I can read that both ways. 347 is greater than 268. Okay, let's compare some more numbers. All right, let's compare 515 to 527. Okay, so I'm going to build these two numbers. You can build them on Braining Camp or you can just draw them. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 110, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ones. And then over here I'm going to build 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 10, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, so here's my two numbers that I want to compare. 515 and 527. So I'm going to look at my numbers again. First, I start with the furthest to the left, and they both have 500s. So that's the same. So I'm going to need to go look at the tens. This one has 110, and this one has 2 tens. 110 and 2 tens. Well, 2 tens are greater than 110, so this number must be larger. I'm going to put my 2 dots over here and 1 dot here. And I would read this sentence as 515 is less than 527, or I would put the words is less than 527. So anytime I compare numbers, I'm comparing the tens place, the hundreds place. I'm going to use words and pictures. Okay? Now, I want you to try it on your own. In your journal, I want you to draw, let's see, 248 and 316. Can you draw those two numbers in your journal? Pause the video for a minute, draw them in your journal, and then compare them and see if your numbers match mine. All right, let's see if your numbers match mine. Let's see, did you draw 2 hundreds, 4 tens, and 8 ones? And then 3 hundreds, 1 10, and 6 ones. Notice I don't put 5 in a row and then 1. And then you compared them. Hopefully you started at the number furthest to the left. That'd be the hundreds place. This one has 2 hundreds and this one has 3 hundreds. So this number is bigger. 248 is less than 316. That's how you would compare those numbers. Okay, so you're going to be practicing doing that on your journal today, okay, in your math slides. Let's look at something else when you're comparing numbers. Sometimes you want to put them in order from least to greatest. Least means the smallest, and then greatest, of course, means the biggest, right? So I'm going to put some numbers down here. Let's say 415, 278, and 163. If I wanted to put these numbers in order from the least number to the greatest, I'm going to do the same thing to compare those numbers. I'm going to look at the number to the furthest left. Well, 163, 100 is the least, so that one would go first. Okay? Then I look at the 4 and the 2. Well, 2 is less than 4, so 278. And then my next number would be 415. So if it asks me to compare from the least to the greatest, I'm going to look at that smallest number to the biggest number. 163, 200s, 400s. All right, let's try that one more time. If I'm comparing numbers from least to greatest, let's see, I'm going to have, 987, 843, and 979. Okay, if I'm comparing these numbers, I look at the number furthest to the left. So I have 989. Well, I know 800 is less than 900, so it's going to go first. But then they're both 900. So to compare these, I'm going to have to look at their tens place. Well, 8 tens is bigger than 7 tens, so my next number, if it's going with least, is going to be 979 and then 987. So these numbers are, these numbers are in order from the least to the greatest. So today you're going to have some practice doing that. You have some Google Slides to complete today. You're going to be building the number on Braining Camp and then writing it in a chart for me and then comparing them, putting them in order from least to greatest, and then comparing them using symbols. Okay? And then you have a seesaw activity to do. I can't wait to see all your great work.